So happy to see all of you here today. Today is extremely auspicious day. Despite what do you call the passing of his great devotee, who is a fantastic Kirtaniya, His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami, right? So he left his body today. And today, basically, we're going to discuss just in nice, the Bhagavad Gita verse is going to basically talk on this about the devotees, right? So anyway, as we are here, when we see that the passing of a pure devotee is actually basically a time for celebration. Okay, sometimes we see that when a mortal, when an ordinary person leaves the body, right, or whatever great man, usually everyone will be sad, right? But the passing of a devotee is actually a big celebration, right? So today at 12:06 p.m. in the afternoon, Indian time, Maharaj left his body. All right, and coincidentally, we're going to have a class on this day. It's something very memorable class. Today is 9th March 2023. We are having our weekly Bhagavad Gita discussion. Just a short glimpse about Maharaj. He is a disciple of what they call. He's a disciple of this. What is his name? I can't recall. All right. So anyway, so the Maharaj once he showed us a right way, all right, the right path of how a person should leave his body. When he was, I think he was diagnosed with cancer, and I refused to take any medicine and just got ready to leave. All right. So and towards his last day, he was just surviving. He just maintained water diet. He was just simply drinking water and absorbed in chanting and hearing of the holy name. Okay, so and a few times I saw on his health update. He was saying about why the time hasn't arrived yet. All right, still looks like he still has some energy, and I was just wondering why the time hasn't arrived yet. I want to go back. So he was like that, this thing, all right? And His Holiness Jayapataka Swami met him once. I mean, he called him up and asked him, so how is it so that is there any cure for your disease? And he said, I survived bullet, I survived firing squad, I survived accident, I survived many places, and Krishna basically saved me from many kind of trouble. But of course now Krishna knows if he wants to save me, if not, I will just go back. So he was that renounced, all right? So as a homage, I will just share the his portrait. Okay, you all can see the video. I mean, how he looks. Let me see. All right. So this is, let me see, I can get a better photo. Right. So this is Kadamba Kanana Swami, and he's always absorbed in, yes, his guru's name is Jayadeva Swami Maharaj. All right. So so today let's pay our homage to His Holiness before we start our class. All right. So let's do our invocation mantra. So in your mind, just imagine, meditate that you're having a flower and you're offering to His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami, who just left to spiritual world. Okay. Om Ajnana Timirandeshya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapidamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagarjadam Shahagana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savaduta Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Saha Gana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vidamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimadi Kadamba Kannana Swami Iti Namine. All right, just in our mind, let's offer our flower homage to his lotus feet. All right. So Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Jayapataka Swami Tinamini Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayini Gaurakata Damadaya Nagaragaramatarini Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pricharini Nirvashesha Shunyavadi Pasacharistarini Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Tinamini Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaye Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Viknanadayini Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jvala Premadya Sri Rupanuga Bhaktira Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namustute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarini Rupanuga Virudha Pasidanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauravir Bhava Bhume Swam Nidasa Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarobhauma Sri Jagannatha Yate Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Patitanam Pavinibhyo Vaishnavebhayo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Garatasi Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavadaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustute Jayatam Suratau Pangur Mama Manda Matirgati Mat Sarvasva Padamboja Vrada Madana Mohanao Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpa Drumadaha Srimad Ratnagara Singha Sanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishtali Visevya Manosmarami Sriman Rasa Rasa Rambi Vamsi Vata Tata Stita Karshan Venur Swarir Gopir Gopinata Yasri Estuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Stude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So everyone can unmute yourself and let's chant Hare Krishna 9 times and offer to His Holiness Kadamba Kannana Swami. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, His Holiness Kadamba Kannana Swami ki jai. Haribol. Okay, so with that note, so today we start our Gita. We are still on chapter 9. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so let's do our, okay. So today we're going to discuss on, we are still continuing chapter 9. So today we're going to discuss on text 14, but the title is, the title is the most confidential knowledge, all right? So this is the most confidential knowledge. You all can see the screen?
Yes, can see, Prabhu.
All right, okay. So let's recap the last two verses. Magosha moga karmanu moga jnana vichetasha rakshasim asurim chaiva prakriti mohinim shrita. So Krishna is explaining the people who can come and people who can't make it. So one of the here in text 12 is mentioning that those who are thus bewildered, all right, those who are bewildered by this are attracted by demoniac and atheistic view, right? Those who don't have a steady mind, who are always confused, or that means in other words, they are the bewildered people. They are the one who are attracted by demoniac and atheistic view. Okay, demoniac and atheistic. What is demoniac? Okay, demoniac means rakshasha, demoniac, rakshasha attitude, and asuri means atheist. All right. So in it is not that rakshasa we are talking about the person who come with two horns, right? Rakshasi, right? Or rakshasa. We are not. It's a demoniac nature. So demoniac nature means the nature which is against the principle of devotional service. All right. So that is a demoniac nature, right? So then at the same time, atheistic. Atheistic means the one who doesn't agree that God exists, right? So in that deluded condition, okay, in that confused condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge all defeated. They can be very highly educated. Maybe they can, example, as what we say, if a person who sometimes read Bhagavad Gita, or maybe out of this, maybe I've studied Bhagavad Gita, example, all right? Like for instance, people study Bhagavad Gita to find fault, to defeat. Like the day Dr. Tinesh was, I think, few classes ago, he was talking about this atheist. Which atheist is mentioned? I can't recall. Whereby Ambedkar, whereby that Ambedkar, Dr. Ambedkar, whereby he always sometimes he look at the glossary. At the end, he will just look for some word, immediately jump into that verse and find fault. All right, these are the people who are demoniac by nature and atheistic. All right, atheistic means they try to prove that God doesn't exist, that whatever God speaks is all pure nonsense. So even though they took this holy book, they go through it to find fault, or like Srimad Bhagavatam. All right. So whatever things they have done, so what they say, their culture and knowledge are all defeated, even though they can be distinct, but the knowledge is not going to benefit them. These are the atheistic people. And in chapter 13, Mahatmana, okay, we studied last week Mahatma. What is Mahatma? Mahatmanastu mam partha, Daivim Prakritim Aishim. Daivim Prakriti means the spiritual nature. I think last week we spoke about it very detailed, right? Daivim Prakriti, Ashrita, Bhajantyananya Manaso, Jnatva Bhutadim Avyayam. What it means? Oh, son of Prata, those who are not deluded. Those who are not deluded. So it looks like all of you are not deluded. And in order for you to be not to get deluded, especially in this kind of confused environment, you should be very fortunate. All right. The great souls are under the protection of divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So can anyone who attended the class last week, anyone can recall what are the examples that we spoke? Can anyone like to share? Anyone? Do you remember? What easy example I shared? You can't recall. Example I said about those who are in paddy field and they fall into the mud. Do you remember that? The story mud? Am I audible? Hello? Hare
Yes, yes,
Krishna?
Prabhu. You're audible,
Okay,
Prabhu.
okay. Okay, I thought okay. So remember that he falls in the mud. He runs to the high land, and there's a king is waiting, and the kings help him out. But even though he got into the king's chariot, but he's full of mud, and that's the justification we spoke last week. Even though sometimes we are out of this prakriti, the material nature, and we are what we have understood from the verse here. At the moment one surrenders to Krishna, at that very moment one surrenders to Krishna, he will be immediately taken out from where? Okay, let me see. Put under the guide. Okay. Being Maja, as soon as the living entity, okay, as soon as the living entity is freed from the control of material nature, is put under the guidance of spiritual nature. All right. So that means what we understood from here, that even though that we have surrendered to Krishna, we are chanting, we are reading Bhagavad Gita, right? We are whatever we are practicing. But at the moment we surrender to Krishna, we are already taken out from this prakriti, the material illusory nature, and we have put on Daivi Prakriti or the divine nature. But sometimes you may ask, well, if there's many people or whoever it is in divine nature, but still the attitude is not very divine. Have you all thought about that? Sometimes you see the devotee, I mean, people who are especially in spiritual life. All right, why are they not divine? Because as the example I gave last week was, even though the king saves a man who's stuck in the mud, he pull him out from the mud or from the quicksand or whatever, and he straight away take him and put him into the chariot. So that means a man stuck in the mud are taken out and put in a chariot. Even though the golden chariot is inside there in a very opulent golden chariot, but we must understand he's fully muddy. So as he got into that muddy situation, he come out from the muddy situation, what he need to do? He needs to start clean up. He cannot immediately clean up. He have to clean up gradually, little by little by little. All right. So in other words, so once we are taken out from this prakriti, the illusory material nature, and we are kept in this spiritual nature, so we are actually clearing our muddy situation. All right. All the mud that stick on our body, all that dirt that we have been accumulated for millions of births, we are clearing slowly, one by one, one by one, one by one. So even though that we are in a divine nature, but we are still with so much of pollutant. All right, it takes time. So how are we going to clear our mind, all our dirt? By chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. All right, because by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we purify our mind, and also by reading the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, whereby we purify our intelligence. All right, so that was the last week's discussion. So if any of you missed that discussion, please go to our website, our our YouTube channel, and you can watch that. Yeah, no problem, Mira. It's all in YouTube. All right. Please make sure that you watch last week's YouTube. All right. So today we're going to discuss a very interesting verse. So just now we asked about, we studied the person who are in demoniac and atheistic nature will never get the chance. They are deluded. Second, the one who have surrendered to Krishna, who already dwell in Daivi Prakriti or the divine nature, these are called Mahatmas. So these are the eligible people. So now let's look at text 14. So we have studied about atheist. We studied about divine people, atheist and Mahatmas. Let's see in text 14 what we're going to understand. All right. If possible, please try to memorize this verse. This is also a very interesting verse. So satatang, kir. All right, K. There's a dash there. So kirtayanto, mang. Yatantash shampoo, this shampoo. Yatantash cha drudda. D-R, okay, how are you going to pronounce it? Like D-R-U-D-H-U, D-U-H-A. So drudduha, drudda. So D-R-U, so dru and D-U-H-A. So drudda. So when you're going to say it very fast, so drudda. Okay, drudda. Shugatantascha drudda vrataha. Namasyanti. Okay, this is just as like a Singapore as. So namasyantash. Okay, this is as shampoo as. All right. So namasyantash cha mang bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Okay. Satatang kirtayanto mang yatantascha vrittaha namasyantascha mang bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Satatang kirtayanto mang yatantascha vrittaha namasyantascha mang bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Satatang kirtayanto mang yatantascha vrittaha namasyantascha mang bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Okay, please. You can start. Anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Satantang kirtayanto mang yatantascha dirta vrittaha
Very good.
namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, next. Next, who would like to recite? It's very auspicious to recite Bhagavad Gita verses. Anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'm quite not well, but I'll just, okay. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha trashta ratta namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta ubhasyate.
Okay. No. Good, good, good. Okay. Another one more person.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Even the Sikh Mataji also tried. How about others? Okay, another Mataji, Saraswati Mataji.
I'm the one who.
You are the one. Oh, okay. Right. Who's next? Arsi Mataji? She's not there, I think. Charana Lakshmi Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Satatam kritayanto mam yatantascha dirda vrittaha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta ubhasate.
Yes. This is Namasyantascha. Okay? Because you are preparing for your Sanskrit pronunciation. Maybe this one can help you.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So, okay, let's look at this thing. Satatam kirtayanto mang yatantascha druddha vrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. So what is satatam? Satatam means always. Okay, let's look at this word. Always. Kirtayanta, that means chanting. Kirtan, chanting. Okay. All right. So kirtayanta, chanting. Mang means about me. So Krishna says, always chanting about me. Yatantaha. Yatanta means fully endeavoring. All right. That means fully endeavoring means what? So we have to work very hard. Or not hard work. Endeavoring means work with how should I put the word? Enthusiastically. Okay, endeavor. Enthusiastically, all right? Fully endeavoring. Cha also. Driddha vrata, with determination. How we should endeavor? We should endeavor with determination. All right. We may have lots of challenges. All right. There's a lot of challenges in life. Sometimes we say, why not today? Just okay, next time, some other time. All right. No time, whatever time. But we must have this thing called determination. So what determination for what? Namasyanta. Namasyanta means offering obeisances. Offering obeisances. Cha and mam, me. Bhaktya. Bhaktya means in devotion. Nitya yukta. Nitya yukta means perpetually engaged. Okay. Upasate. Upasate means worship. Okay. So let's look at the translation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with determination, knowing, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. All right. Anybody would like to read this translation? Anyone? Why no sound?
Okay, Prabhu, I'll try.
Not Sanskrit, like English. Okay, Prabhu.
Okay, shall I try?
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. The Mahatma cannot be manufactured by rubber stamping.
Translation. Always.
Translation. Okay, sorry. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. So now you see here. So what it says here is, okay, let me get the highlighter. What color? Okay. Okay. So now let's see what Krishna is saying here. Always chanting my glories.
Glories.
Always. All right. Always. It's not whenever we have the mood. Always. Always chanting my glories. All right. Then after that, the second word he said, endeavoring with great determination. All right. We endeavor. That means we really endeavor in great determination. Then after that, he said, bowing down before me. All right. So Krishna wants us to bow down. Bow down before me. Then after that, what Krishna suggests, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. All right. So these are the key points. So these key points we can expand. We can expand into a long this thing. So what we say here is always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So what is devotional life? What is devotion? Okay. So we understand from here. Okay. Like for instance, Kadamba Kannana Swami. Okay. So what he does, he always chant his glories. He's always kirtaniya. Wherever he go, he love to do kirtan. Right? And he endeavor with great determination, despite he has so much of challenges. All right. He was formerly a president for Vrindavan ISKCON. So as a president of Vrindavan ISKCON, definitely he had a lots of challenges. All right. So, and he had many life-threatening situations. He met a terrible accident. That's why you see that face, like, he met a terrible accident. He had a bullet wound. He was shot, and he was under the firing spot. That's why I'm still waiting for his pastime glories. But once I get that glories, I will definitely share with everyone, because I was wondering, what does it mean by firing spot? Where did he face the firing spot? He survived the firing spot. All right. And also he had a terrible accident. So the life that he has gone through is even worse than any one of us. But he keep on his determination. Despite he had cancer or dread disease. I remember the last interview with this what they call Bhakti Vikas Swami, who is also my Siksha Guru. So we had a discussion, and the way they spoke, it's mesmerizing. Can you imagine? When you're going to see a person who's going to leave the body, who's going to die, how anxiety he will be. Okay, I believe all of you have experienced that, right? When a person about to leave the body, he'll be in great anxiety. He'll be in so much of fear, right? Whenever we go to meet, they will hold our hand so tight. It's not affection, it's fear. Can you save me? No, they are looking for someone that to hold on, that they can go on with his life. All right. But the conversation between two Swami was mesmerizing. He's telling, yes, all right, I'm going to go. Okay. Then at one moment, he was telling, they were talking about touching the feet. All right. Because the Swamis don't allow people to touch the feet. Right. Then Bhakti Vikas, yeah, but after you leave, everybody will touch your feet. You have no control over that. He was so light and talking about that. So that means, in other words, they are very sure and very determined in their decision of taking the spiritual life very seriously, right? So great determination. After that, he says, bowing down before me. Okay, what does it mean bowing down? Who do we bow down? Sometimes we go and touch our parents' feet, our grandparents' elderly feet. What does that mean? You don't simply touch feet out of anger, right? Out of anxiety, or out of what they call hatred, or whatever. We just touch the feet when there is a lot of love, right? So bowing down before him. Okay, that means it's also act of love. So what Krishna says, these great souls, that means the great souls that means the Mahatmas. Just now we studied about Mahatma last week, and now the understanding of Mahatma is those who chant his glories, endeavor with great determination, bowing down to Krishna. So what Krishna says, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So Krishna wants us to worship him with devotion. He doesn't want us to worship him with full of fear, right? He doesn't want us to worship, oh, Swami Undaru, no. He wants us to worship with devotion, right? What is devotion? That means we devoted. That means it's just like how a wife serves the husband, right? When we look at that husband-wife relationship, is it lust relationship? No, it is devotion. The way the wife comes and serves the husband, and the way the husband serves the wife, it is love. In mundane world, we call it love. Yes, fair enough, there is love. But it's mere love will never take a person to that devotion, right? Like that day, once I was talking to one doctor. She was asking about this, about mothers, right? So I was telling that, example, okay, example, say, I mean, she's a working professional. She's a doctor. I asked her, so say like, for instance, husband comes back from work, right? Comes back, immediately going to take his shower. And immediately he will, after his shower, he will sit for his, what they call, any snacks. He'll be reading newspaper or do his prayer and watch his TV and go to bed, maybe by 10, something like that. But will the mother will do that? Will the ladies will do that? It doesn't work that way, right? She come back home, she clean the house, she makes sure that she cooks something for the husband, cook something for the children, right? And after that, she prepares everything, the book, whatever. After that, they clean up the place and she goes to bed at maybe 11 or 12, right? Even the working ladies, working matajis. But why? For men, maybe after some time, there's a call retirement. I mean, they just say like, okay, that's it, I'm retired. But for mothers, ladies, there's no retirement until the final breath. They work for the family, for the children, for the husband. And the best part is they don't complain. Of course, here and there, they will, sometimes there'll be some nagging, but still, even after nag, they can still go on doing it. Why? What we call that attitude, that is called devotion, right? That is devotion. So when we have devotion, we can go on doing this what they call, go on doing this service, all right? That's very important. Okay, so now what he says, so that means worship me with devotion. So these are the requirement that Krishna is saying. Okay, now let's go to the purport. All right, so now the purport is, this is the purport. All right, so the Mahatmas. So what Prabhupada is explaining, the Mahatmas, all right? The Mahatmas, okay, who are they? Cannot be manufactured. Okay, cannot be manufactured by rubber stamping by ordinary men. Okay, sometimes the word Mahatma, it is something that the title given by ordinary men. Just like how our Mahatma Gandhi, who gave him the title Mahatma Gandhi. All right, the people, his supporters, suddenly start to call him Mahatma. Okay, they start to call him Mahatmas. Okay, all right. So they sing. So this is not something that rubber stamp by an ordinary people. Okay, it's not suddenly I start to call on, oh, you are Mahatma. Then the first start to call, I'm Mahatma. It's not that way. So his symptoms, that means the symptoms are described. The symptoms are described here. That means Mahatma is always engaged in chanting chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna, okay, the personality of Godhead. He has no other business. He don't have any other business. He is always, okay, he is always engaged in glorification of the Lord. He is always engaged in the glorification of the Lord. In other words, he is not an impersonalist. That means these are the person who are not impersonal. Means they are not Mayavadi. In other words, there's some doctrine say that God has formless, God has no form. All right? This is not the person. They are not impersonalists because they worship the person Krishna. All right? When the question of glorification is there, he has to glorify the Supreme Lord. He only glorifies the Supreme Lord, praising his holy name. He praised his holy name, his eternal form. That means he's praising his holy name, right? His eternal form, his transcendental qualities, and his uncommon pastimes. Okay, his uncommon pastimes. One has to glorify all these things. So that means what Prabhupada is saying, one has to glorify all these things. That means what are the things we have to glorify here? All right. So we have to glorify. Okay. So number one, we have to glorify, where is it? Okay. All right. First, we have to glorify the holy name. Okay, holy name we have to glorify. Second, we glorify his eternal form. Okay. And number three is we glorify his transcendental qualities. Then after that, at last, number four is uncommon pastimes. So these four things are very, very, very important. Okay. So first thing, we have to praise his holy name. So that means in order for us to achieve the highest success in spiritual life, so first thing what we need to do is we need to chant Hare Krishna. So when we chant Hare Krishna, what are we trying to do? We are praising the Lord. Hare means the internal potency of Krishna, that is Ladini Shakti, who is Radharani. Krishna means the most beautiful one. That means it's a praise, right? Oh, the most beautiful one. Okay, it's a praise. Okay. Then number three, we also praise his transcendental qualities. That means the most beautiful one, and also what they call the reservoir of pleasure, Ram. Okay. So we also talk about his transcendental eternal form. Sorry, eternal form. Eternal form means Sachidananda Vigraha. Sat means eternal, Chit means full of knowledge, Ananda means beautiful, Vigraha, body. Okay. His transcendental qualities. What are these transcendental? He got 64 qualities. So how we can glorify the qualities, right? And of course, number four is uncommon pastime. What is the pastime? Like for instance, the pastimes is the festival that we celebrate. Okay, what is Deepavali we are celebrating? Okay, Deepavali we are celebrating. There's two understanding for Deepavali celebration. Number one is Lord Ram is coming back to Ayodhya. Because when Lord Ram left Ayodhya, when on exile, the whole Ayodhya became barren. People choose not to wear new dress. The women do not comb a hair, disheveled. The man looks haggard. You know, sometimes when we go for a funeral house, after the funeral house, people are extremely sad. How they all look like? They don't maintain themselves. Even how nice the lady like to put makeup, they don't put makeup on after the funeral, right? So they'll be like fully devastated. In other words, they were also devastated. Even that Bharat is the caretaker king. Caretaker, all right? Caretaker king, how he dressed up. He was he was wearing that, what they call that, what is the word? The dress from the tree bark. What do you call that? Okay, his dress made of tree bark, how the sannyasi used to dress up, all right? And he put the paduka, or that, what they call? The shoe, the slipper of Lord Ram, he put it on the throne. Okay, he put it on the throne and he was worshipping that. And similarly, all the people are so devastated, they are so sad, they are so frustrated. They can't live a moment without Ram, Lord Ramachandra. Everybody was so excited. When they heard Lord Ramachandra coming, what they did? Immediately they start to clean up the house. Immediately they start to put column, rangoli. Immediately they start to dress themselves. They put the oil. They put the oil early in the morning. They start to bathe in oil. Why? So bathing in oil is like removing all inauspiciousness. Right? I don't know, but in when you look at this in our tradition, especially I'm not sure about others, but I've seen in like in Tamil tradition, after the ladies have menses, so after 3 or 5 days later, they will put the oil on the head, the what nalane, they put the oil on the head and take bath. It's considered removing of inauspiciousness. Then after that, they start to cook, they start to offer for Krishna. All right. They don't like after 5 days, okay, I'm clean, then just immediately, they just like to put oil. So putting oil is actually a purification thing. So that means they put early in the morning, they get up, they put the oil and they take the oil bath. They put the oil, that means they're removing all inauspiciousness. After that, what they do? They start to put all these feast on. All right. And after that, they put the Taranam. They start to put that all the auspicious leaves like banana leaf, mango leaf. All right. They put the mango leaf. All right. Then after that, they put that banana Taranam, what they call the banana tree with with full of fruits. All right. With bananas, with full of bananas. And of course, the heart. Right. So then, and everybody will start to dress very nicely. They took a new dress, dressing up nicely. Okay. So when they know that Ram is coming, Lord Ramachandra is coming, immediately they start to put lamp all over. All right. They start to put lamp, and putting up lamp is a art of festival. Sometimes we see in during any festival season, you see that whole all the town will be lit up. They like to put all the chili light, chasing light, Happy Diwali, Hari Raya, or Christmas. They like, because putting up light is a symbol of festival, right? So like that, they put all the ghee lamp around and this thing. And sometimes, for instance, to encourage Lord Ram to come, they are so happy. So when Lord Ram was coming into the Pushpa Vimana, from there he saw the whole Ayodhya was glowing. All right, it's just maybe it's like a landing strip, right? With all the things. So we put everything in such a big festival. That is Deepavali, one version. Second version of Deepavali is Krishna's pastime, right? So Lord Krishna, like for instance, it's a festival of Damodara, right? Where this naughty little Krishna will start to terrorize everything, and they will be dancing this Ayodhya. What they call Gokula bus. So that means they are all celebrating. All right. Deepali comes, the height of this thing. So this festival of Krishna, I forgot the story actually. Right. So that is Deepali is a celebration of the pastimes of Krishna. And secondly, we also celebrate this Damodara. Namam Ishwaram Sachit Ananda Rupam. Ananda Rupam. See, beautiful Rupa. Namam Ishwaram Sachit Ananda Rupam. Lasat Kundalam. Kundalam is a earring. Kundal. Lasat Kundalam Gokule. Gokul. All the Gokul people in Gokule. Brajamanam. Namam Ishwaram Sachit Ananda Rupam. Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. Yashoda Biyolu Kaladavamanam Paramritam Atyanta Totritya Gopya Udanta Mohur Netra Yukmam Murjantam Karam Boja Yukmena Satanka Netram Mohor Chumbitam Bimba Mohum Chumbita. Chumbita means it look like a bimba fruit. It's a kind of fruit where it looks like very pinkish. That means he say Krishna's lips like bimba fruit. Mohur Chumbitam Bimba Rata Darami. So this is also pastimes. So we celebrate what they call Damodara month. The height of the Damodara month is Deepavali. All on the pastimes of Krishna as a little boy. Right? Then we celebrate Narsimha Chaturdasi. What is Narsimha Chaturdasi? The day that not Narsimha came. Ugram, Viram, Mahavishnam. Ugra means extremely angry. Viram, the great warrior. Mahavishnam, the Mahavishnu came Ugra Viram, Ugram. That means Mahavishnu is a great warrior, came very angry. Ugra Viram Mahavishnam. Jvalantam, Sarvato Mukham. That means his face is everywhere. He came, who is the person who has faces everywhere? Ugram Viram Mahavishnam, Jvalantam Sarvato Mukham. Narashimam Bhishanam Badram, Mrityum Namamiyaham. The one who, even the fear personified, the death personified, or the fear personified also run away looking at him. He is that angry. So it's another pastime of not nourishing a day. Then we celebrate Ram Navami. Also the pastimes of Lord Ram. What else we celebrate? Gaura Purnima. We just celebrate Gaura Purnima. Also the pastime where Krishna, Gauranga Mahaprabhu born. Then we celebrate Janmashtami. So that means we are celebrating all his uncommon pastimes. So celebrating these pastimes is very inauspicious. Sorry, not very auspicious. All right, very auspicious. So we are reading that Bhagavatam. What are we reading? We are reading, like, for instance, in Bhagavatam, we are in the passing of Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev, Krishna is standing there. And Bhishma looking at Krishna and he's leaving his body. Remember, I think I pre-recorded the class. I hope that you all have listened, heard the class. So that means we are all talking about the entire Bhagavatam is 100% dedicated to what? Krishna's pastime. Right? Then after that, then after Bhishma Dev, then we go to that, Parikshit Maharaj. Then Parikshit Maharaj relationship with Krishna and how he was cursed that he will die in 7 days. Then you want to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam, and what Srimad Bhagavatam is full of pastimes of Krishna. After you finish that Srimad Bhagavatam, then you go to Chaitanya Charitamrita. What is Chaitanya Charitamrita? Is 100% all Leela of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So all these pastimes are very auspicious. See, by nature, we human beings love to listen to stories. When we grew up as a baby, as a child, we grew up listening to stories, right? We listen to the story, grandmother story. Sometimes we're going to say, very small time, we're going to say, hey, daddy or mommy or party or what, can you tell me story? And they like, because it's the nature of a human being. All that nature of human being is manifested in the child. Whatever the child does is the nature of what a human being is supposed to be. But as a person grows up with so much of conditioning, they have changed. They forgot. Imagine, even the childhood life we forget. How can we remember our past life? Right? It's almost impossible. So we are talking also, when we say that this kind of, so listen, tell me story. So listening to Krishna came story, Katha. That's why it's called Hari Katha. Hari Kadai, Kadakele, no? It's a Katha. So this is all very, very, very important. Okay, now, so one has to glorify these things. Therefore, a Mahatma is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So because when we hear the stories about Krishna, we are becoming more and more inspired. All right. First, we aspire to read. For what? So that we can inspire. All right. So there's a thing, right? As you aspire to inspire, you must perspire. But here, there's no perspire. Right? There's no perspiration. There's no sweating. There's no hard work. No hard and fast rules. It is simply aspire to read, and you get very inspired. So once you get very inspired, you live life full of bliss. All right. Okay. Any questions so far? All clear?
No, Prabhu.
All right. So now, one who has attached to Krishna now, okay. One who is attached to the impersonal feature. Okay, what happened to the one who is attached to the impersonal feature? That means some say that God has no form. All right. So one who has attached to the impersonal feature. Okay, attached to the impersonal feature. Like people or some religious practice says that God has no form. All right, what happened to them? So of the Supreme, they call that as Brahma Jyotir. Okay, is not described as Mahatma in Bhagavad Gita. So that means those who do not accept the form of Krishna, all right, they are not considered Mahatma. Okay, now you all understand this. So so in the future, if you know anyone, okay, so this is something that you should remember. This is one of the important teachings of Bhagavad Gita. What it says, that those who do not worship the form of Krishna, but prefer to be in impersonal feature, or in Christian they call Holy Ghost. All right, Holy Ghost. And in Muslims they call that God is formless. They couldn't identify the form of the Lord. Right. So all these things they fall under the category of Brahma Jyoti. So they are not considered as Mahatma or the great souls. Okay. Now, he's described in different way in the next verse. Okay, next verse is described in different way. The Mahatma is always engaged. So what is the another feature of Mahatma? He's the one who always engaged in different activities of devotional service. So different activities of devotional service as described in Srimad Bhagavatam. All right. So what is the different activities? Okay, as mentioned in where? As described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So that means, in other words, when we want to practice in some kind of devotional service, we should follow the authority. We do not say, okay, I am trying to do something whimsically, right? Like that day, one devotee shared with me one video that happened in what they call in Pankor, right? In Pankor, there's a Kali temple. So he was there. He showed me, and it was very scary. That guy, they put the hook all the way his back. After that, they tie him on this thing, and they start to bring him up. He was hanging like what they call it, Superman Kavadi. So all these things, have we heard? Is there any features or any sastra that mention that you put the hook around your back and start to hang like a Superman, right? After a while he's hanging, they took the one big spear and entered here and then take it out. As it mentioned? No. Right? Even in Bhagavad Gita also says, the one who touches the body, punctures the body, is in the mode of ignorance. Later, as we go on 3 mode of nature, we will study. All right, the worship in the mode of ignorance is the one who puncture and torture the body. Anyway, so all these are not mentioned. So what Prabhupada is saying here, that Mahatma is the one who engaged in different activities, which is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, described in authorized text, not some fairy tales. All right. So what is the described in this thing? That is hearing and chanting about Vishnu. All right. Smaranam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So hearing and chanting about Vishnu. This is what described in Bhagavatam. All right. This is what described himself. Okay. Not a demigod or human being. It's not included devatas, demigods, or included human being. So all these peoples are, we do not hear or chant about them unless they are pure devotees, right? But here is mentioned as an ordinary human being. They are not glorified. All right. This is devotion. Okay, this is devotion. That means this is devotion. And what is that? They call it Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, and Smaranam. Okay, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, and Smarana. That means remembering. Also, at the same time, you remember him. Okay, remember him. Such Mahatma has firm determination. They have firm determination, right? To achieve the ultimate end, of the association of the Supreme Personality, all right, of the Lord. In any one of the 5, through that, any one of the 5 transcendental rasa. Okay, through any of these. So now the word that we highlight here, all right, now let's see. Okay, let's do this scientifically. So the word that we can highlight here is this. So that means any one of the, any one. So that means, so what we can understand from here is this, all right? We understand. So number 1, devotional, that means Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, and Smaranam. So what does it mean? Hearing, chanting, and remembering. Can you all follow me on this? All right. So that means what? Hearing, chanting, and remembering. That's in Sanskrit we call Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Smaranam. So far so good, everyone?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, great. So Smaranam, Kirtanam. Okay. So that means remembering. So such Mahatma has what happened? By doing that, they have firm determination. They are very determined. All right. To achieve what? The ultimate end of association. All right. They have the ultimate end, the association. Ultimate end, the association of the Supreme Lord. They want to ultimately go to the association of Supreme Lord. By what? Now that's very interesting. By any one of these 5 transcendental rasa. Can you see that? Right? Are you all following me on this? So that means what it says, saying that through any one of these 5 transcendental rasa. Oh, this is too dark. Okay, any one of these 5. Any one of these 5 transcendental rasa. So any one means you can just stick to any one of these: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Right? Shravanam, Kirtanam. So that means, okay, if that's the case, okay, now let me say, I think I don't like chanting, but I think I will remember Krishna. Any one of you thought about it? I think someone thought about it, right?
Yes, Prabhu, I have also thought about it earlier.
Yeah. So you thought you think too loud. I heard you. All right. So that means I don't need to chant Hare Krishna. I just remember Krishna enough. Or say, no. I think I just chant Hare Krishna enough. I don't need to listen to his stories. Just chanting enough. No. You must understand that these three elements is interconnected, whether you like it or not. All these elements are interconnected. That means first we do Shravanam. All right. That means hearing. All right. When we hear, when you keep hearing about Krishna, some or other you'll be inspired to chant. Do you agree with me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Who's that? Huh?
Saras here always.
Oh, Saras Mataji. Oh, okay. So you agree, right? First, you start to keep
Yes,
listening
yes.
about, yeah, what this guy going to tell me? I just joined Gita again, just want to learn some Bhagavad Gita. Then after that, you keep hearing. Naturally, you start to chant. Correct or not? Yes or not?
Yes, Prabhu.
Tiny Mataji, all you started that way, right? 16 rounds. I think more than 16 rounds. So that means you start to chant. So first, you'll hear the story. That eventually you'll start to do kirtanam, whether you like it or not. You'll start to chant because chanting is so nice. How long can you keep hearing the story? Right? You put the earpiece and always 24 hours? No. Right? It's not. But chanting you can do every moment. Yes or not? So when you start to hear someone, all right, for instance, you start to hear about your, say like you fall in love with a girl or a boy. First you start to hear about him, oh, his dad is this. Then after that you start to sing about him, right? Yes or not? Suddenly your mother or parents says, no, you know, pa, that boy is such a good boy. You will never get such a boy. You start to sing about him. That's natural, right? Then after that, you start to sing. Then by doing these two, naturally you will come to the level of remembrance, or we call it as smaranam. The smaranam part will come in. All right. So this is all interconnected. But what Prabhupada says, if any one of these five transcendental rasa, right? But how we can understand this? Any one of these transcendental rasa? How? All right. Like for instance, we go back to the story of Kadamba Kandana Swami, who left his body today. Okay, he went back home, back to body. What he did? At that final moment, he couldn't sing, he couldn't sing. He was chanting. All right. He was chanting, poof, the beat will fall down. Then he pick up the beat and chant because he's so weak, he couldn't hold the beat. Hare Krishna, the beat will fall down. Then he just pick. Then he just say 12. Then the servants will take 12 means you have chant 12 rounds. Then chant 13. I mean, okay, so something like that. So that means he's doing that. But at the final moment, see, first, then after that, when we are weak and everything, so we just need to do any of these three things: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Right? We have to hear. That means he was listening to all Prabhupada lecture, all the lectures about Krishna, about his pastimes. Then he was listening to a kirtan and he would start to chant. And through this, he remembered Krishna. And that remembrance actually removed all kind of pains in his body. He was just saying, what is it taking so long? Right? When the person is like so sober, the doctor says you won't live long. He said, okay, fair enough. If I can't live long, okay, why should I endeavor to go for medical treatment? I rather give up and just start to sit in one place and go through that. Let me go through that because I just want to remember Krishna. That is the most crucial moment, right? So any of these three rasas, five rasas, okay, we have to achieve this thing. All right, now to achieve that success. So now the question is, how are we going to achieve the success, right? So how are we going to achieve the success? How? To achieve the success, what we should do? He engage in all activities. He engages in all activities. And what activities? Through what? Through this mental, bodily, and vocal everything in the service of the Supreme Lord Krishna. And this is called full Krishna consciousness. That means, in other words, what happened? In order to do that, what he does, he engages in all activities. And what activities? He engages in mental activities, right? He engages in mental activities, bodily and vocal. That means he think about Krishna, he act on Krishna, and he always speak about Krishna. Everything. He engages everything in what? In the service of the Supreme Lord Krishna. This is called full Krishna consciousness. All right. Is it all okay? Are you all listening to me very attentively?
Yes, Prabhu.
If you think you didn't catch it, please go and watch the video. This thing is basically summarizing the entire nectar of devotion. All right. In many of the books that that we can think of, nectar of devotion, nectar of instruction. All right. What else? What Jaiva Dharma? All these books. This is the summary. Prabhupada summarized the entire thing in one paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think less than 30 words, 30 or 50 words. That is how experts Srila Prabhupada. That is why Prabhupada is called Jagat Guru. Not some kind of Jagat Guru or who simply, talk nonsense. He described the entire thing in this one paragraph. It's very important. All right. So those who have a camera, please take photo of this for your reference. Or if you don't have, what you do, you can watch again this recording in the YouTube. All right, because we have Dr. Tineshwaran upload all these things into YouTube. But please like the YouTube because we need to have more people to like it and also share. So by doing that, we will be like highlighted or something. That day, Dr. G was telling we need many likes or something like that. All right. Of course, these likes is not for any kind of mundane thing, but for proper spiritual thing. All right. Any questions so far? All good.
Prabhu.
Okay, great. All right. Now let's go to the next paragraph. So in devotional service, now let's look about in devotional service. What is in devotional service? So in devotional service, right? In devotional service, let me see. All right. So in devotional service, okay, in devotional service, all right, there are certain activities. There are certain activities which are called determined. Okay, now Prabhupada is explaining determination, right? Certain activities called determination. That is such as fasting on a certain days. So fasting on a certain days is called determination, especially on the 11th day of the moon, which we call it as Ekadasi, right? Or on the appearance of day of the Lord. Right. So what are the fasting days that we have? Okay. It is very auspicious. Okay. Krishna gave opportunity that we can burn our bad karma quickly. Right. Even say, like, for instance, if you want to be successful in life, if you have so much of burden or so much of what they call struggle, that means there's so many bad karmas is like holding you back. If you want to get rid of all that, fasting on Ekadasi is very important. And I believe that all of you, most of you are fasting on Ekadasi, right? So best way to fast on Ekadasi is, number 1, nirjala. That means don't take anything. Number 2, take water. If you can't, take juice. Number 3, take fruits, right? Or cook something like potatoes or carrots and all these things, but never grain. You shouldn't touch grain, right? So this is called determination, all right? And not only on Ekadasi day we fast, but also on the appearance day of the Lord. It's very auspicious. Okay, like for instance, on Guru Purnima, we fast from the day, the time we woke up until the moon rise. All right, until the sunset and moon rise. That's supposed to be around 7:26, 7:30 p.m. that we all break our fast. On Janmashtami, Krishna Janmashtami day, we fast until midnight. All right, the day break until we fast the whole day. When midnight comes, we break our fast with grains. All right. But in between, you can't take it. You can still take fruits. All right. Taking fruits and water is considered still fasting. All right. Like Narsimha Chaturdasi, sometimes we fast until the sunset. All right. Narsimha, because after the sunset, only Lord Narsimha, dawn. Because Lord Narsimha appeared somewhere, not day and not night. In between, what they call that, dawn or dusk. They call dusk or dawn.
Twilight.
Twilight zone, yes. Twilight. And what do you call that? Dusk or dawn? Yes, the word. Dusk means it's the morning. Anyway. So during the twilight. So until then, we fast. So like that, in certain days, we fast on certain kind of this thing, right? So this is called determination. All these rules and regulations. Okay, all these rules and regulations for what? are offered by the great acharyas. All these things are offered by the great acharyas. All right. For those who are actually interested in getting admission into the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the transcendental world. So now you can say, what is the big deal? Just by what? Starving, how am I supposed to think about? How am I supposed to, how? I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? You don't eat and you pleases God. How? What is that logic behind it? How can we explain? Very simple. The day that you fast, right? Whenever you feel thirsty, you remember Krishna. Today is Ekadasi. Today I'm fasting for the pleasure of Krishna. Then suddenly you feel hungry. Suddenly you are sitting at home. Suddenly your neighbor cooks something and the smell comes. Oh my God. Oh, no. I'm fasting for Krishna. So you be more Krishna conscious on Ekadasi day and all these kind of festival day. That is the reason for fasting. Right? It is not Krishna doesn't like, why Krishna should see you starving? For what? How does it make sense? Like for instance, the 40 days the Muslim fast, all right, on what they call Pasa. Why are they fasting? They say, oh, we need to think about all the poor people, all this nonsense they talk. But the most important thing, according to the hadith, I remember listening to one lecture from this one ulama. He was telling that is the time that make your system will go slow down. So when your bodily system slow down, your mental platform will increase. All right. It is just like what they call like the weighing scale touching, like Barisan national symbol touching, right? If this thing goes up, this thing will come down, right? Something like that. So when the bodily demand reduces, the mental activity will increase, right? So whenever they feel like, oh, I'm so hungry, yes, Allah, I'm just doing for Allah. So they become more God conscious, right? So that's the idea, right? But we are doing every 2 days, okay? But actual fasting, okay, actual if Ekadasi fasting was like this. First thing, you have to start fasting 1 day before. If say like tomorrow is Ekadasi, I have to stop my meal by afternoon. The last meal is lunch. I start my lunch, I'll start fasting the whole night. Then the next day morning is Ekadasi. So when the Ekadasi starts, I have to wake up early in the morning. I have to do this oblation. I have to do all these prayers and everything, Mangalarati, everything. Fast the whole day without water until night. And night you shouldn't sleep. Just like Vaikunta Ekadasi, you shouldn't sleep at night. Night you should be engaged in lots of kirtan. All right, kirtan, reading the books, Bhagavad, like how that that Vaikunta Ekadasi, the whole people stay at night. But of course nowadays Vaikunta Ekadasi they like to put movies, right? They put the movie Karnan, all kind of movies. So that means you fast the whole night, and next day morning you break your fast after feeding a devotee, right? You invite the devotee to the Habib, feed him, then after he is satisfied, then you take your prasadam, break your fast. That is that actual way. Of course, our acharyas say that is what it's possible during the Orthodox Indian last time, Indian thing, right? But when you talk about any other country, it's not possible, right? So what we do, His Holiness Narasingha Maharaj, on Ekadasi day, he just go on Nirjala. He just don't drink anything. He just full fast. Other days, he don't take grains. He only take Ekadasi Prasadam. So like that, we engage. So when we engage like that, it shows that determination. So when we do that, for what? So that whenever you feel hungry, you remember Krishna. So this is the opportunity for you to remember Krishna better than any other days. All right? You better any other days, okay? So the Mahatma great so strictly. So these Mahatmas also are the people who strictly observe all these rules and regulations. And therefore, they are for sure achieve the desired result. All right? Any question on this? All good? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. All right, the last paragraph. All right. So in the last paragraph, let's see. So as described in the second verse of this chapter. Okay, what is the second verse of this chapter? Anyone of you got a Bhagavad Gita? Raja Vitya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshawagamam Dharmyam Sa Sukha Kartum Avyayam. Anyone remembers the translation? What he says? This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by self-realization, it is perfection of religion, and it is everlasting and is joyfully performed. All right. So now let's look at this. All right. So he says, as described in the second verse of this chapter. Okay, as described. Now, you all remember the second verse of the chapter, right? The second verse of the chapter. Not only in this devotional service, not only, all right, not only is this devotional service easy, but it can be performed in a happy mood. Okay, it can be performed in a happy mood. All right, it's not only in this devotional service is easy, but it can be performed in happy mood. All right. So one does not need to undergo. So what he says, one does not need to undergo severe penance and austerity. So that means we do not need to go through some kind of very tough kind of worship. What is severe penance? Sit and meditate. All right. Torture your body, sit in a yoga asana, right? Until your leg become jammed up. So we do not need to go through this kind of severe austerity or penance. It can be happen in a easy and happy mood. He can live in his life. He can live in this life in devotional service. That means he can live this life in devotional service, guided by an expert spiritual master. All right. And in any position, either, that means at the same time, it also can be done by in any position. Right. So what are the positions? Either in a householder or a sannyasi or a brahmachari. So that means whether you are married with family, or whether you're a sannyasi, or whether you're a brahmachari, right? It doesn't matter. Everything, all can be done with so much of happiness in this position and anywhere in the world. So in any position and anywhere in the world, anywhere, you just can go anywhere in the world, you can still practice this, right? He can perform this devotional service. All right. So he can perform this devotional service to the Supreme Personality Godhead and thus become actually Mahatma or a great soul. Okay. So that means we understand. So what we have understood in the text 14, 13, 12, the envious and the demoniac and atheist people are the doomed. But at the same time, who engage in devotional service are Mahatmas. So here, that means okay, are the Mahatmas. And in this chapter 13, we have studied Satatang Kirtayantomam Yatantascha Dirdha Vrata Namasyantascha Mam Bhaktya Nitya Yukta Upasate. That means we say, always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So these are the characteristic of great soul or Mahatma that we have discussed. All right. So do you have any questions? Any comment?
No, Prabhu.
So all good. All right. It's already 8 because the another verse, others who engage in sacrifice, cultivation of knowledge, worship the super. Okay. Another thing also very important verse. So I think we start that also. I think we can't finish by, okay, we don't have time. So text 15. Jnana yaknena chapyanye yajanto mang upasate ekatvena pratatvena bahuda vishvato mukham. That means these are others who engage in sacrifice by cultivation of knowledge, worship the Supreme Lord as the one without second, as diverse in many energy in the universal form. All right. Then after that he says, but it is I who am in ritual, the sacrifice, offering, ancestor. All right. All these things, Krishna will be, I am the father of the universe. Okay. All these things are going to be a very interesting proclamation. Krishna is going to proclaim. All right. Proclaim that Jnana Yaknena. Jnana means knowledge. Yaknena means cultivation. Okay. Yakna means also we call it as sacrifice. Yagna. So Jnana Yagna means cultivating. All right. So that means next week we discuss on this text 15. Okay. It's going to be very interesting text. So because if I speak now, I don't want to rush because this chapter 9 is full of nectar. Okay. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So do any one of you got any questions, any comment? We end the session here. We continue next week for our text 15. So, any questions?
No problem.
All good?
Yes, Prabhu, good.
Great. So, I humbly,
Prabhu.
yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Siva
Hare-
here.
Yes, yes.
Can you define this Mahatma, Prabhu? You know what? People have started using Mahatma, even put that Mahatma Gandhi, this and that, but sometimes it's very complicating. You know, who is real Mahatma and this and that, but now people have started disputing that Mahatma was given to Gandhi, this and that. So I also like on the gray zone now.
Mahatma given to Gandhi is what?
Mahatma Gandhi, they say it should not be given
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah, that's the explanation of this whole verse, Prabhu. What is Mahatma? What is the
Yeah, yeah,
qualification of Mahatma? So Mahatma
Yeah.
is the one who always chant, who always worship, bow down to Krishna. You know, Smaranam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. So chanting, hearing, and thinking, and also equipped with determination and bowing down, worshipping. So these are the qualities of Mahatmas. Other than that, when you see that verse, when Prabhupada started, he said about what? Rubber stamp. Right? Okay, example, let me show you the verse again. It's a very good question. All right. Say, like, for instance, when you look at this, right? So what Prabhupada started, the Mahatmas cannot be manufactured by rubber stamp by ordinary men. You see that, Prabhu? Are you there, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that means the Mahatma cannot be manufactured. That means cannot be given by any ordinary fella, just like a rubber stamp, tuck, chop, right? By an ordinary man. So that means at the same time, then Prabhupada says the symptoms are described here. All right. What is the symptoms of Mahatma? That means the Mahatma is always engaged in chanting the glories, right? He has no other business. He's always engaged in glorification of the Lord, and he's not an impersonalist. All right. So these are the qualities of Mahatma that clearly explained in this text 14. So when you read this text 14, you'll realize that Mahatma that given to Gandhi is bogus.
Exactly, Prabhu.
It's a bogus claim. Just by some
It's Congress branding, I think.
Yeah. It's like a brand.
Congress branding.
Yeah, it is what do you call that? It is called what do you call it? It is like a sentimentalist. You know, like sometimes in Tamil movie you saw, right?
Yeah.
You are my God. You save me. Just because that fellow gives some money, gives something to eat, or maybe got the daughter married, he can become God. God is that cheap? It's happening in Kali Yuga. All this kind of nonsense is happening. Yes, Dinesh? Varan?
Actually, as far as I know, it was first Gandhi gave the title Gurudev to Rabindranath Tagore. Then,
I see.
Just as a reciprocation, Rabindranath Tagore gave the title Mahatma. So actually, since Tagore was a poet, so poets have this habit of, describing everything in hyperbole and all that, right? Hello. So that's what happened, lah. So it was first Gandhi gave the title Gurudev to Tagore, then Tagore simply reciprocated like a courtesy. So then all these Congress fellas, they started to popularize the title.
I see.
Okay.
And the title. I didn't know that. First time I'm hearing that. Thank you so much, Dr. Dinesh.
Me too, Prabhu.
Yeah, in fact, when I was telling this, I was wondering, which it actually gave him Mahatma title. I was just thinking by heart.
This is more like this Congress party want to rule there for millennium, so they put the job Mahatma so that the followers of the Hindu followers will always vote them. I think this should be the reason they like as though like brand and then put it on.
Like initially after the everybody in India wants independence because the British was very nice. They are not cruel. They were very nice until 1930. The British start to show their color. right? Because there's so many people are coming forward to fight. That's when the British became very nasty, right? 1930s onwards, that they will start to hang people. So by doing that, and after the Great Famine, I think by this when this bulldog prime minister, what his name, Churchill or something like that, he came and
Yes, yes.
yeah, so he came and so it created a lot of problems. So that's when they become very nasty. Anyway, British was systematically trying to destroy the Indian civilization, systematically, slow, step by step. But as you see, now that now they are so. But now after some time, now after 75 years, okay, 1945, 75 years, yeah, after the independence, now people start to dig all their stories. They start to see how regretful they shouldn't have break up. Like the guy who assassinated Gandhi, what is his name? Dorsey, Morse.
Yeah, God say.
Godse.
Yeah.
Reason why assassinate? At first, all of us studied, we say, oh, Godse is a terrible fellow, he shot Gandhi. But now, nobody spoke about his final thing that he said in the court. What Godse said, he has no right to divide the country to three. Who is he to divide the country to two? All right, he was dividing Pakistan and India. Who is he to divide? He has no right to divide. So that's the reason. So he's a patriotic, he shot him. All right. So as time goes on, people start to dig, people become more mature, people are more intelligent now compared to those days who are very sentimentalist. Right. There's even a movement, Gandhi movement. They make Gandhi as God.
Yeah.
That's some thing. So they worship Gandhi and no, they talk about Gandhi, tolerance and all these things. So if tolerance means Gandhi after the independence, you should tell the Congress, don't create any armed force. We do not need to have any army. All right, we go and hug our enemies, are finished. India has gone by now. So,
Prabhu, but the most miserable thing is that there are some ISKCON preachers, they are trying to use Gandhi as a brand ambassador for Gita.
Okay.
When they talk about the glories of Gita, they say that Gandhi also studied Gita. But if you observe Gandhi's life, he was stuck in the first chapter.
Yeah, correct.
Throughout his life, he was in this Arjuna Vishad Yoga. He never reached chapter 18.
Yes.
Throughout his life.
Yeah.
And one more thing, in Veda base also, if you look at the letters section, in Veda base, there's a section on letters. The first letter is Prabhupada's letter to Gandhi, written in July 1946, if I'm not mistaken. No, I think 47, just a few months before partition. Prabhupada has warned about some dire consequences awaiting Gandhi. So actually, Prabhupada himself was aware that Mohandas was no Mahatma. That's a very interesting letter. It's available on Vedabase.
See, like for instance, when we talk about like encouraging people to read, so sometimes we need to use, for instance, the whole world was surprised how this old man, all right, he managed to chase the British out. All right, he didn't chase the British out, but it's like a collective hard work. The whole India, they work hard together. But of course, Gandhi, as the leader of that Congress, the movement, he gets the name. So like for instance, when we say about when we distribute Gita, we say that Gandhi read Gita. What is the reason we say that? I mean, we used to say that that Bhagavad Gita is such a book that even Gandhi read it. Even Gandhi says, in his thing, whenever doubt comes into me, whenever I'm distressed, I will just I will read the Gita and I feel very nice about it. I think there's no, they don't.
But Prabhu, his interpretation of Ahimsa is very wrong, because basically he is not Hindu. He is a follower of Pranami. That's a different sect.
He's a follower of what?
Pranami. 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 You can go through that Wikipedia. It's another offshoot of Hinduism, whereby they believe in Torah, Quran, and Gita. So the interpretation was basically from their master. So you see, in the case of ahimsa, when adharma is taking place, Krishna says, you are a Satriya, fight for that, fight against adharma. But here in Mopla massacre, about 20,000 Hindus, innocent Hindus were killed, and even like Melegon or Koregon in Maharashtra were just slaughtered by the Muslims. Gandhi says, no, practice ahimsa, otherwise I will go into fasting. No, by killing, they will regret. After that, they won't kill. But these guys are keep on slaughtering this and that.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
practice of ahimsa is very wrong than
Very wrong.
what
Yeah,
Krishna says.
yeah, exactly.
So
See,
basically,
like for instance, Prabhu, like those days, like like for instance, there is a practice. You take the Gita, suddenly you feel like you're not happy. Something is like bothering you. You say, Krishna, tell me something. Tap, you open one and he says, knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower are the three factors and motivate action. The sense. Also, wow. So that means it's what Dinesh said. He didn't went through the Gita. So if you have studied the Gita, you might have not come into this conclusion. Even like what Dinesh was telling, ahimsa is not mentioned in any of the Gita. So how he could say that he stick to that, this thing. So only the few things that he expect that he have taken from Gita is do your job and don't expect any result.
yeah,
That is very easily makes sense. And of course, that's the best way to convince others. Fight for the country, don't expect anything. Die for the country, don't expect anything. You are doing it for your future, your children. And some Indians are very highly agitated and highly emotional. Why not I die? Like what there's a bug or something, BAGH, where that thousands of Sikhs and Hindus were killed. They jump into the well.
yeah.
What is that? Agar bug or something. So it's happened. So
That's Jallianwala Bagh.
What do you get?
Jallianwala Bagh.
Jallianwala Bagh. Okay. So nowadays, if you see that even everywhere we go, all that the ministers, the politicians, they are not spiritual. That's why this is Kali Yuga. That's why Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj Prabhupada told our Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, he was Abhay Charan that time. He told him, he came in a cap that wearing that Gandhi's dress. When Srila Prabhupada met his guru, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, he met him. He said, I will come after the India get liberation. Then he just said, no. Why bother whether India got liberation or not? We are still stuck in Kali Yuga. This entire world is prison. Right? And that's when our Srila Prabhupada came out of this Gandhi movement. He started to like work on this. But as goes on, he started to say, yeah. So whatever things that we have done, okay, after Gandhi went, what happened? Partition, then war. Right? How many wars? And the final war was Kargil. Then fight over Kashmir. Then every day that these two people are looking at each other, spying at each other, just like how Israel and Palestine are looking at each other. Right? So they are so they are hating each other. They hate each other. All right. Even a great what they call a devotee or a great spiritual man also always pray that Pakistan will destroy. And even that Pakistani always looking for ways to this thing. But now what happened? In fact, personally, I also had so much hatred towards Pakistan before. All right. But now we see that ISKCON is flourishing in Pakistan. There's so many devotees are coming in Pakistan. You get it? So that's when I was thinking, as what Prabhupada was taught by his spiritual master, this whole world is a darkest form of ignorance. Right? Whether you're in Malaysia, whether you're in India, whether if you go to America, just call it, just say any part of the world that you're going to have good life. No. Not only this earth, even you go to the Devaloka, even you go to that Indraloka, the heaven, even you go above Janaloka, then even you go up to Tapaloka, even you go to Satyaloka, even you stay with Brahma, still birth, death, old age, and disease is there. It's a very cruel form. That is a cruel curse to the living entity. Birth, death, and old age. And how the old age comes? Through the disease. After first we birth, death, okay? First we get old. Then after we get disease, because a person needs to have a reason to die. right? It's very rarely a person who are very healthy, so vital, boom, he just go back. No, he must have a reason to die. And the die will come in the form of disease, right? And not only that, there's another three mode of material nature: goodness, passion, ignorance. And that goodness, passion, ignorance, you can even further divide. Goodness plus passion, passion plus ignorance, or goodness, passion, ignorance mix. The mix you can mix and match. These three mode you can mix into many kind of attitude. All right. Even in training world, all right, there's a four kind of people: sanguine, phlegmatic, choleric, and melancholy. So we must understand what type of people we are. So melancholy people, how they act; phlegmatic, how they act; sanguine, how they act. All right. And sometimes in the teaching psychology, sometimes when we train our people, we do that. So melancholy and phlegmatic mixed character, or sometimes they have all the four characters mixed, and we must find out which character stands out more when it comes to learning. So all these kind of things. Okay, just in a simple language, onion. Have you watched the movie Onion? Suddenly become a saint, suddenly become a rakshasa, suddenly become love playboy. So this kind of character is everywhere in human society. And not only human, but anywhere until the Satyaloka planet. So sometimes they say, oh, I would like to leave this country, I want to migrate. No, wherever you go, this thing exists. So the one and only thing that the wise thing to do is what Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj said. All right, try to save the world from this ignorance. You are an intelligent young man, preach in English. Go to the English speaking world and preach the message of Lord Chaitanya in English. And that was the instruction that Srila Prabhupada got. You know, so that's very amazing, truly amazing. All right. So that's the thing. So sometimes we see this kind of things like what they have done, whatever it is. Like sometimes they say we want to bring back the past glories. Sometimes they say, you know, like we want to prove that we were a great civilization. Whatever things that we try to prove, end of the day, nothing matters, right? End of the day, nothing matters. Like for instance, now, say like I don't like what they call the Malays, example. I hate them because they are very racist. So every day I think about them, think, boom, I die. And next birth I become Malay. How you feel, right? So Krishna says, you really hate them, be them, right? So it's just like that, just like how the Japanese and American fought. The American hated Japanese and Japanese hated America. They fight, America, pum, he die. Next day he born in US. So what's going to be his character? Will he still carry his the loyalty to the emperor and love to that? You see, no, they have to go on fighting. They say, oh, now I'm American. You know, I hate these Japanese fellas. Japanese fellas are nasty fellas. They came and bombed that, what they call? What is that? In Hawaii, what they call Pearl Harbor. They came and hit the Pearl Harbor. All right. But the one he did is for this guy in his previous birth. But now this birth, he says, so it is going to go on. It's a very confused situation. So let's put a stop. And today that that is Holiness Kadamba Kandana Swami. Kadamba Kandana, or I always mix up his name. Or Swami. He showed a very good, proper way of living the body. All right. This is a fantastic lesson. All right. This is the lesson that everybody's taking about it. When a person is diagnosed, they say they don't have a chance. It's not a good idea to go and look for a second opinion. All right. Government hospital say go to private will suffer another 30,000-40,000, say cannot do anything. Then run back to government, like run here. Better when they find out all these things, just remain Krishna conscious and go back home, back to Godhead, to eternity, not to be remain here. All right. Anyway, that was the lesson that we learned from him. Of course, sometimes to practice, it takes a lot of courage, understanding, and knowledge. All right. And all this happen with determination. Whatever said and done, even the determination also has to come by the blessings of Lord Krishna. So let's back Lord Krishna. Let's always be Krishna conscious. Start with Kirtanam. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very religiously, daily. All right. And through that, let's achieve perfection. Let Krishna decide. Because as we understand from our last week, when we surrender to Krishna, we are taken over by Daivi Prakriti. Right? Daivi Prakriti. That means we are often in the wilderness. We were begging. We were so in a very terrible situation. We are hidden somewhere. And now we came into the Daivi Prakriti. That means we have been adopted. So once we adopt, we do not need to worry whether our foster father is going to give us food, whether they're going to give us clothing. All that we don't need to worry. When the time comes, he'll be keep giving and we just take it. All right. So once we have already gone into Daivi Prakriti, now is the time for us to start to purify our existence. All right. Purify existence. So chant more Hare Krishna. By doing that, you can naturally give up all these kind of unwanted habits like illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and what else? Intoxication, gambling, illicit sex, and meat eating. Right? Meat eating. So the meat eating. So of course, it's not easy to give up because it's a strong desire. The senses are there. Don't do it fakely. Don't fake it, but increase your chanting. All right. At least you chant 16 rounds without fail every single day. Every day I chant 16 rounds without fail, whether attentively or non-attentively, doesn't matter. Even your tongue simply vibrates. Finish 16 rounds. Did I really chant? Don't worry. The chanting is very powerful. Whether you know or don't know, it will play its part. Okay. With that, thank you so much for your time. It's been my great pleasure to discuss all these things with all of you. We meet again next week, Thursday. All right. Of course, next week I will be in KL for Saturday till Wednesday. So I may not this thing. And those around Batu Gajah like Mira, please come and join our Saturday weekly Saturday program at Namahata, First Garden Namahata. And this Namahata program this week will be given by Dr. Tineshwaran. All right, he will be doing the class. It's continuation of On the Way to Krishna, chapter 3. All right, the chapter 3 halfway. All right, because it's such a long chapter. So I have done half last week, and this week is going to do half. All right, and followed by Kirtan by my cousin Yelango. All right, he'll be doing that Kirtan. And of course, I'll try to arrange for Prashadam. All right, for whatever said and done. So don't miss it. So till then, and Sunday, we also have our regular program. Sunday, those who are staying in Ipoh, and those who are around elsewhere, please don't miss any of that Sunday program in your vicinity. All right. I think Nanda Mataji is in Penang. All right. Todu, near Todu, I think. So don't miss your program every Sunday, because going to see Krishna on Sunday is a festival. Okay. When you go to temple, dress up nicely, dress up very nicely, grandly, just as though you're going for a wedding, because you're going to see Krishna. Sometimes they say, you're going to temple or you're going for a wedding. Why? No, it's not that way. Dress up opulently, because you're going to see Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Go there with full of enthusiasm, with full of excitement, and look at the first. You start to stare from the lotus feet. Remember, we studied that in Srimad Bhagavatam. Look from the lotus feet, slowly go up. After seeing that, pay obeisances, go at least 4 times and chant Hare Krishna, take Prashadam and come back. You'll be very blissful. All right. Make this as a habit. All right. Those who are staying somewhere near the ISKCON temple, don't miss the opportunity. I think like Tachaini Mataji is quite far away from the temple. She's in Sungai Buloh. But if you still have a chance, do go and see, because it's a Sunday morning. Yeah, Sunday program still at ISKCON. Yes, correct. Sunday program still at ISKCON Ipoh. Okay, it's a morning program. But Saturday is our Namahat program. All right. So, of course, Namahat, we just give a simple snacks. But Sunday, we go to give you a big feast. Right. So, till then, have a nice day. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubevacha paditanam pavinebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. Good night. Gauranga. Hare Bol.